Good evening and welcome back to Closing Arguments. I'm Michael Ayala, in tonight for Vinnie Politan, and we begin this hour with updates in the ongoing Murdaugh murder mystery. Today, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division released a 911 call from 2018 made by Maggie Murdaugh and an unidentified male following an apparent fall that left their longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, dead. Now, the investigation into Satterfield's death was reopened in September of this year following the deaths of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh and the bizarre self-orchestrated shooting and subsequent arrest of Alec Murdaugh, the disgraced former high society lawyer. Now, we're going to play that 911 call for you tonight, but first, Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Prater breaks down this complicated and bizarre story.
I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay. Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
That's the 911 call Alec Murdaugh made on June 7th, 2021, after finding the bodies of his wife and son shot to death at their South Carolina hunting lodge.
Okay, what is her name?
Maggie and Paul.
Maggie is her name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And please hurry.
Alec Murdaugh told police he discovered the double homicide after returning home from checking on his terminally ill father.
Both died of multiple gunshot wounds. Maggie Murdaugh was shot by a semi-automatic rifle, police believe, and Paul Murdaugh was the victim of at least two shotgun blasts. One to the chest, at least, and one to the head and upper arm.
For nearly a century, the Murdaugh name has embodied a legacy of power and justice in South Carolina's Low Country. Here in the small town of Hampton, it's virtually impossible to find someone who does not know of the prominent legal family. But recently, the name has become synonymous with tragedy. At the time of his death, 22-year-old Paul Murdaugh was awaiting trial, charged with 3 felony counts of boating under the influence for a 2019 crash that killed 19-year-old Mallory Beach. According to depositions taken in that case, Paul Murdaugh illegally purchased alcohol at Parker's convenience store using his older brother's ID. Surveillance video shows him leaving the gas station, towing his father's 17-foot boat. As he exits the store, you can see him raise his arms in a triumphant gesture to his friends. After attending an oyster roast, the 6 friends headed by boat to a bar in downtown Beaufort, South Carolina. And later, Murdaugh stumbles on the dock as he and his friends return to the boat around 1 a.m. Just over an hour later, the boat slammed into a bridge piling, and Connor Cook called 911.
What bridge is it? Paul, what bridge is this? Paul, what bridge?
911, where's your emergency? Hello? Police, fire, EMS. Hello?
We're in a boat crash on Archer Street. There's 6 of us and 1 is missing.
The body of Mallory Beach was found nearly a week later in a marsh about 5 miles from the crash scene. The charges against Paul Murdaugh were dropped after his death, but the investigation is ongoing.
We reported, and it has since been confirmed by multiple attorneys who have clients related to the case, that there is an active investigation into possible tampering, possible obstruction of justice related to that boat crash. And specifically, Alec Murdaugh is one of the folks who was mentioned in connection with that inquiry.
In another bizarre twist, 3 months after his wife and son were shot and killed, Alec Murdaugh called 911 again, this time to report that he had been shot. The family's attorney says someone in a truck shot at Murdaugh while he was changing a tire by the side of the road. The injury was described as a superficial head wound. After he was released from the hospital, Murdaugh immediately checked himself into a rehab facility to treat an addiction problem, according to his lawyer. Then it was revealed that Murdaugh was accused of stealing millions of dollars from the law firm built by his family. And the South Carolina Supreme Court suspended his law license while the misconduct case is investigated. Just another chapter in this Southern murder mystery.
This case is amazing. It has so many tentacles. And in September, the Hampton County coroner requested officials reopen the investigation into the death of the Murdaugh's housekeeper due to inconsistencies. Now, according to the coroner, Satterfield's death was not reported to the coroner at the time, nor did officials perform an autopsy. And Satterfield's death certificate stated her cause of death was natural, which the coroner determined inconsistent with a trip and fall. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division says the investigation into Satterfield's death is now active and ongoing, and they released the 2018 911 call today. Take a listen.
911, where's your emergency?
4147 Moselle Road.
Okay, can you give me the address one more time, make sure I got it right?
Yes, 4147 Moselle Road.
Okay, what's going on out there?
I'm sorry?
What's going on out there?
My housekeeper has fallen and her head is bleeding. I cannot get her up.
Okay, you said she's fallen. She's bleeding from the head?
Yes.
Okay. How old is she?
I'm not sure, like 58 maybe.
Do you know if she fell from standing or not?
No. No.
Where'd she fall from?
She fell going up the steps, up the brick steps.
Okay, so she outside or inside?
Outside.
Okay. How many steps is there?
8.
Okay, is she on the ground or is she up near the top?
She's on the ground. She's on the ground. She's on the ground.
Is she conscious?
No, not really.
Is she awake at all?
Yes.
Okay. Is she just not, like, responding appropriately, but she is awake?
Man, she's not responding.
Okay, I've already got them on the way. Me asking questions does not slow them down, man. Knowing if she's conscious is one of the things that the medic needs to know if she's responding at all to you.
No.
Okay, so she's not responsive at all.
Well, I mean, she's mumbling.
Okay, so she is somewhat conscious. Is she breathing okay?
Yes.
Is she bleeding from anywhere?
Yes, her head.
Okay, are you guys able to control the bleeding?
No.
Can you
I
put
haven't
a
even
clean
tried.
rag or anything on it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, is she bleeding from, like, her face, the back of the head?
I've got an
neck?
ambulance coming. Sir, my name what?
Where exactly is she bleeding from on her head?
I'm not sure. At the top of her head.
Okay.
Watch it.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
What happened?
She just fell back down. Can I get off this phone so I can go down there?
Can I have your name and phone number? Or are you able to bring the phone down by her?
What?
Or are you on a cell phone where you can walk down there and talk?
I'm on a cell phone. No.
Okay, can you bring it with you so we can ask her some questions about what kind of pain she's having?
Hello?
Yeah, can you ask the patient what kind of pain she's having?
Ma'am, she can't talk.
Okay, do you know...
She's cracked her head and there's blood on the concrete and she's bleeding out of her left ear.
Okay, she's bleeding out of her ear?
And out of her head. She's cracked her skull.
Okay. All right, the other lady said that she had tried to stand up and fell down again?
No, I was holding her up. And
okay.
She told me to turn her loose and she was trying to use her arm, but then she fell back over.
Okay, do you guys know who she is?
Yes, she works for us.
Okay, do you know if she's ever had a stroke or anything before?
Ma'am, can you stop asking her these questions?
I already have them on the way. Me asking questions does not slow them down in any way. These are relevant questions that I have to ask for the ambulance. One of my questions is, has she ever had a stroke?
I don't believe she's ever had a stroke, not that I know of.
Okay, is she able to talk to you guys at all, or is she unconscious now?
She's not unconscious. She's just mumbling.
Okay.
I believe she's maybe hit her head and maybe has a concussion or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Do you know what her name is?
Gloria Satterfield.
You said Sanderfield?
Ma'am?
You said Sanderfield?
Satterfield.
Satterfield. Okay, what's the house look like out there?
It's offset off the road.
Okay.
It's a big house, got a long driveway.
With a long driveway?
Yeah.
Is there a gate or anything down there that they're going to need to come through?
There's two big brick columns that have to come through.
Okay, but there's no, like, gate code or anything that they need?
No, ma'am. And tell them that they can look for a fellow on a 6x6 Ranger.
Okay.
Waiting on them in the road is green. You know what they probably know what the Ranger looks like.
Yeah. You said, like,
Fella's
green.
got on a black sweater,
Okay.
a hat, and pants.
Okay. All right. If something changes with her, if she loses consciousness or anything like that, I need one of you guys to call me back right away, okay?
Okay, well, how long is it going to take? Because this took us...
That I don't know. I've had them on the way since Maggie first called me. They were toned right away.
Okay.
All right, but I think they're coming... Hang on 1 minute. Let me check. They're coming from somewhere on Bells Highway in Ruffin, okay? That's where their station is.
Thank you.
All right, but like I said, if something changes, call me back.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, let's bring in tonight's guest. Joining me in Salt Lake City, Utah, retired police commander and host of the Profiling Evil podcast, Mike King, and in Los Angeles, California, retired FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I don't even know where to start. There's so much to discuss here, but I think a good place to begin is by getting both of your opinions on that phone call. You guys are experienced guys with this stuff. Anything jump out at you? I'll start with you, Bobby. Anything jump out at you about that phone call?
Well, I mean, they're very calm, particularly the mother is very calm, but it's really hard to read into things. People respond to trauma and traumatic events very differently at different times. And so I really hesitate to attribute any behavior or conclusions based on those kinds of behaviors, because just people they act differently under certain circumstances. But they seem very calm. The son seemed very concerned. He wanted the ambulance there right away. The mother was, even more calm. The 911 operator has a dual purpose of asking those questions, right? She needs some of that information, and the rest of it is to try to keep the people at the scene calm so they don't overreact. And so I think the operator did a great job, and I think that they were, I would say, unusually calm, but I would be hesitant to read into that too much.
Yeah, I mean, this is a woman, Mike King, who has been with the family for a long time, somebody who I believe, and the things that I've read, is credited with having had a lot to do with raising those sons. So the calmness did concern me a little bit. Love to get your thoughts on anything that might have jumped out at you about that phone call.
Yeah, like Bobby mentioned, I think the thing that's really difficult is to try to project what she should have been acting like based on maybe the way we would respond or think we would respond. You certainly can see that Southern hospitality in the conversation that's going on and that calm demeanor, but almost a demeanor of, hey, don't waste my time with small talk, get me some help. And yet that telecommunicator is doing exactly what needs to be done, getting as much critical information as they can, determining whether they need to start going through a series of steps for life-saving measures and other things while first responders get to the scene. I think it's really interesting, the difference in the sense of urgency that the young man has in this particular case. He's really upset and frustrated, and it might just be a maturity thing between the mom's age and life experience versus the son.
Yeah, I agree with you about the 911 operator. I think she did a fantastic job. I have only one criticism, and just passing. She should have mentioned early on, because what you can hear is that they're both getting a little impatient with all the questions, thinking that they have to get through these questions before she sends someone. So she should have right away said, look, someone's on the way. I just want to ask you a few questions. Then I think they would have been more receptive to those questions. I think the mom clearly was getting a little frustrated, and we saw the son getting frustrated as well. Let me ask you, gentlemen, did it surprise you, now remembering who the Murdaughs were in this area, that an autopsy wasn't done in this case? Is that normal? Let me start with you, Bobby.
Well, it depends on whatever the protocols are in that county, regarding these deaths. The Murdaughs were a very prominent family, a very prominent legal family. I would have thought that an autopsy would have been done. Certainly, as we now know, the marking of the death as natural, it was incorrect. This was an accident, and it's certainly not by natural causes. So I think that there would have been good cause for at least a cursory investigation about, the actual cause of death. And then the investigators could have looked at those steps. They could have, done, at least a little bit of a initial investigation to see whether or not this was an actual fall or something else may have been at play.
Yeah, and Bobby makes a great point, Mike, because it was actually ruled natural causes, as we heard in the piece, and that is what raises red flags for me.
Right on, Michael. I mean, this thing we got to look at in the series of events that happened, though. And what we do know is that it initially was an accident that took her to the hospital. And I believe she died sometime after, almost 2 weeks later. Yeah. And so that then becomes an attended death because she's been in the hospital and under a doctor's care, which kind of changes the rules on when you need a coroner and when you don't. The place they missed the point was that this originated back at a home with an accident that hadn't been fully explained and should have driven some discussion back and had that autopsy.
Absolutely. And again, that investigation remains open. And just to throw a little bit more into the mix before we go to break, remember, the patriarch of the family is actually charged with stealing $3 million from her estate once she did die from her insurance policy. So, first of all, you got a housekeeper with over $3 million in assets, and then you have him stealing it. So probably good cause there to open this one up.